Hello, everyone. Good evening. This is Celeste from CFD, and welcome to CFD Celeste Sessions. Today, we are in Davao with a few of our friends from Money Growers, and we are interviewing the Lawrence freaking Lee from Caylum Institute and COL Financial. Hi, Sir Lawrence.
Hi, nice to be here.
So, can you tell us more about yourself?
So I've been trading for 20 years this year.
Wow.
I'm not that old. I'm not that old yet. But I've been trading for 20 years. I started trading when I was 16.
Oh,
So you guys know how old I am already. We're basically, exposed and built for the industry.
yeah.
So during the time that was in the late 90s, after school, during summer vacations, I would be in the booth on the floor.
Wow.
In Ortigas, yeah. I'd be the one order taking and taking orders for our customers. At that time, everything was over the phone. So hindi pa online at that time.
Mm-mm.
And during that time, you'd be there. Half day pa lang yun. And during those time when you watch the ticker, like if you look at the ticker today, maraming orders every day, diba? During that time, the ticker for the most part was generally black.
Okay.
And then you'd see one or two trades that would come by and then black again. And then it was easy to spot a hot stock kasi bigla na lang sobrang daming orders na tuloy-tuloy that would come onto the ticker. So that's how long ago I've been trading. Pati yung when we first moved to TechTite at that time.
Yeah.
Yung blackboard na nakita ko rin. But I wasn't trading then. That was a long time ago. Pero nakita ko, naabutan ko rin yung chalkboard era ng trading.
Oh my gosh, really?
So may exposure din ako dun. Yeah. But I was small, malit pa ako nun. Hindi pa ako ganun, that was anywhere from 20 to 25 years ago. And then I've been trading ever since. Even when I was in college, I would trade. So I went to school in the States. I basically traded as much as I could while I was there. Nagkataon na it was the tech bubble during that period.
Okay.
And then everybody lost their pants during that time. And totoo naman and then I couldn't get a job there because then when it was hiring international students. So I came home and then I went to work for COL early in it. That was 2004. I was working under April for I think it was 3 or 4 years. So boss ko rin si April during that time. And I learned a lot. And then in 2008, I was given the reins to Citisecurities. And I've been building the proprietary trading division ever since. So my day job is really, I trade global markets every day.
Cool. Which markets are you involved in?
Primarily the US talaga. The level of liquidity kasi in the US is so much more than that of any other market. So the number of options that you do have, you have thousands of stocks to look at, and then some of them are fantastic stories. So we have lots of choices, lots of liquidity. Hindi katulad ng Pilipinas ngayon na wala masyadong liquidity.
Yeah.
So just to give you a perspective how big the US market is, we do about 5 billion pesos a day in value traded in the Philippines.
Oh my gosh.
That's give or take $100 million, diba? That's about an hour of trading of Visa or Facebook every day. 1 hour of trading lang of Visa.
Yeah.
So that's the entire Philippines na for the whole day.
Kaya nga eh.
So Visa pa lang yun. So Visa trades generally 6 or 7 times more than the entire Philippine market on a given day. So maliit talaga ang Philippines in comparison.
Yeah, para kami mga dailies. What's a day in your life like? Kasi you trade the US market, which is at evening. So how do you balance that?
Yeah, that's the most difficult part about life. The balance is the most difficult part about life.
Yeah, how do you,
Um,
what's your day look like?
yeah. So on a regular weekday, normally, so first thing I do when I get up is I pray and I thank the Lord for the blessings that we have in this world.
Oh,
I thank the Lord for another wonderful day that He's giving me. So that gets me ready for the rest of the day. Um, so I'm normally out of the house by around 7 o'clock. I bring the kids to school, and then I'm in the office around 8 o'clock in the morning.
okay.
And then certain days we have meetings. So most of the time, actually, today I don't really get to trade the Philippines as much anymore. Most of my trading, most of the things I do during the day is really educating and taking care of my trading team. That's
Oh.
what I spend most of my day doing today. Because I basically have 40 traders on the floor.
Wow.
And all of them have all of them go through the same thing that we go through on a day-to-day basis as we trade. So they go through a lot of stuff, and then you have to be there to help them out, teach them about certain things that you're seeing, teach them about being able to cope with losses, helping them build trading systems. So that's what normally I do during the mornings. And then in the afternoons, normally around 2 o'clock, I'll start charting already for the U.S. markets. And then that lasts for about an hour and a half of just looking at charts and reading up on news stories and things that are happening at night. And then around 3:30, 4 o'clock, we do a wrap up with our teams, just to check what happened during the day. What did you trade? Why did you trade it? Did we make money? Did we lose money? We check our analytics. We check our trading systems, whether we followed our own trading systems or not. And that usually lasts until around 4:30ish, 4:30ish. And then I try to get out the door as early as I can. This is something that no, there's a reason why, because I do have two boys.
Yeah, of course.
I have two kids. They're 11. One of them's turning 11 this year, and the other one's turning 6. And I spend more time at the office than I do with my children. That's fact, right? Because I'm in the office most of the day, and then I get home. Let's say if I get home at 5 and they go to bed at 8:30, 9 o'clock, I only have 3.5, 4 hours to spend with them every day. So I really try to get home and try to go and spend as much time with them as I can, because I know that one day they'll get older, and then they're not going to hang out with their dad, the old fart, anymore. So I got to make the time that I can with them, diba?
Yeah.
So normally 8:30, 9 o'clock, they're in bed. When they go to bed, I do have time now to go and prepare for the night, the trading at night. So normally, if it's not, so right now kasi daylight savings time, we're back to 9:30 ang opening and trading. So at 9:30, normally markets open. What I do normally before the market opens, I review what happens in the Philippines for the day. That's my time to review it. After when the kids are asleep, my time to review. And then I review what happens to the Philippines during the day, and then I write normally for Trading to Alpha. It's for the COL Premium Group at night. And then markets open. So I spend probably, give or take, I'm probably in bed around 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, because I do have stops in the US. And then I normally manage for the first hour and a half to 2 hours. And then pag maraming posisyon, wala na, hindi na matulog. Zombie na ako the next day.
So what time do you usually sleep and wake up?
Normally, so normally I go to bed around 11:30, 12 in the evening. I'm up around 6:15 every day.
Not bad.
Even weekends, I wake up around that time. So I normally only get about 6.5, 7 hours of sleep. That's like a lot for me already.
Personay na. So, thank you for telling me.
Sanay na. Kasi kahit weekends, ganun din eh.
So yeah, thank you for telling us more about yourself. And today we're going to talk about risk management. I'm really grateful to have you here. Kasi I think risk management is really important and hindi siya masyado nabibigyan ng pansin. For some reason, there's more emphasis on more technical analysis, but there has been less focus on risk management, which is very essential for a trader's survival and profitability. So first question, how do you define risk?
This is, if you look at risk, kasi, basically on a definition term, risk is basically what you're willing to lose on a specific trade, right? So quote unquote, we're willing to lose on a specific trade. The biggest problem with that is that people take this for granted all the time because they're just focused on the reward, not the risk. Diba? So if you're just zoned in on the reward and what you can potentially make, you forget that there is a chance you'll be wrong.
Correct.
Diba? So if there is a chance for you to be wrong, you have to be aware na you have to know now if you actually make a mistake, what happens? What are the implications? And if you want to be a professional trader, or if you want to really trade for a living, these are professional trader is it's a longevity game. Diba?
It's all about endurance.
People forget about that.
Yeah.
Endurance naman talaga, lifetime yan eh.
True. I think
diba?
the problem
Hindi naman yan how much I make.
Oh yeah, kasi parang the problem is other people don't really respect the idea that they can lose. Kaya they stop thinking about the risk. All they see is how much they can make.
Or they don't want to think about what they will lose.
Pwede, correct. That's it.
So I have a question for you.
Sure.
Do you know what is the most common reason why an individual can't cut their position, even if they told themselves that if I get to that number, let's say if I get to that price, let's say ang cut loss ko 5 pesos. Pero pag tumama ng 5 pesos, hindi nila makat. There's a reason why.
A lot eh. I think they're hoping, or there's yung fear of loss, yung aversion, loss aversion.
Sometimes some say it's pride, some say it's diba? Kasi sometimes it's a pride issue.
Yeah.
Some say na so they at that point they'll just hope. But in actuality, the actual key reason why hindi nila makat is because they don't know how much they're losing when it gets to that price.
You know what?
So example.
That makes sense.
So example, if I've allocated that I'm going to lose 10,000 pesos, hypothetically, 10,000 pesos when it gets to $5. If the price hits $5, you should know how much you're losing, right?
Yeah.
The problem is that in their minds, iniisip nila na 10,000 tatalunin nila. But in actuality, when it gets to 5 pesos, it becomes 50,000 or becomes 80,000. So what ends up happening is that you end up with a swirl of emotions, an avalanche of emotions, because you can't cut it anymore because your loss is much larger than what you expected it to be. So for us as professional traders, the key thing here is that you have to make sure that when you're wrong, you know how much you're losing. So if you look at our trading system is a trading system that's based around someone who's asleep.
Okay.
So what we mean is that pag tulog ka, I mean, okay, it's not like I'm awake the whole US market. That means that I'm heavily dependent on the stops that I have before I go to bed. Tama?
True.
So that means that if all hell breaks loose when I'm asleep, I know how much I'm losing if all my stops get hit.
That's true.
It's not planning to be wrong. It's planning in the event you're wrong. Kasi, one of the problems that we had before is that there's no asset allocation. There's no, and that's normal. Na when people start out, they're just like, I just want to be right, and that's all that matters, diba?
Yeah.
Ganun lang naman ang trading, eh, diba? Parang pag tumama ako, okay na lahat, right? But the problem is that even the professional traders, their hit ratio is probably anywhere between 33 to 45%.
Yeah, I'm always very interested in those kind of statistics. It always blows my mind how professional traders can be 1 time out of 3 ka lang magiging correct, pero ang laki pa rin ng kinikita. So it's all in risk management, I think.
It's twofold there. It's twofold actually. So when you say hit ratio, you don't talk about hit ratio by itself. So hit ratio is how many times that you're right over how many trades that you make. Diba? The other one is what we call edge ratio or reward to risk ratio. It's how many dollars do you make when you're right over how many dollars you lose when you're wrong. So you got to think about it like this. If you're right only 1 in 3 times, right? If you're only right 1 in 3 times, but your edge ratio is 3:1, that means that every time you're right, you make $3. Every time you lose 1. Right? So every winning trade you make $3. Every losing trade you lose 1. Essentially, you're breaking even. Key thing there is that if your hit ratio is anywhere from 40 to 50%, you need to. So, example, if your hit ratio is 50%, your edge ratio is 1:1. You're not making any money. So every winning trade you make 1. Every losing trade you lose 1. You don't make any money. Pero if your winning trade is $2 and you lose 1 every losing trade, and your hit ratio is 50%, it means that you're way ahead, right? You're making 10 and you're losing 5. So the key thing here is that you want to be able to protect your what we call edge ratio.
When do you usually reassess your performance?
Normally, we look at it on a weekly basis. Every Monday afternoon, the whole team actually we go through all of our analytics. But I try to do my best to look at it on a daily basis to see whether or not, because I'm very picky and I do my best to try to protect my edge ratios. Ideally, you can get your edge ratios greater than 3. So, kasi your hit ratio is harder to control. So it's more important for you to be able to protect your edge ratios. You can do that by minimizing the amount of losses every time you're wrong.
But how about this kind of traders? What do you advise to traders who can't seem to stick to their plan? You know, yung nang-gigigil to execute their trades impulsively.
The biggest question that I have to the general trading public is, do you believe you can replicate your trading?
Yeah, okay, this is interesting.
Kasi if you can't replicate your trading, so you're always thinking that I just need to be right. Diba? Pero if you're talking about just being right, it means na kailangan maulit mo.
Yeah.
Diba? Right? So if let's say I make exorbitant amount on now, okay, great. And don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna complain. Pero realistically, how many of those will you get in a year? Diba? And you're trading anywhere from 200 days in a year. Diba?
Yeah.
So if you think that you make money on now, and then you think that's gonna happen again in the next 5, 6, 7, 10 trades, I think you're heavily mistaken. Diba? So if you're talking about wanting to trade for a living, you have to be able to replicate a trading system. That's more important than anything else. So it means that what is my criteria why I want to make this kind of trade? Diba? So if you can get a common denominator on why these specific trades work, then you can now focus on then you can say na ako kaya ko ulitin to. Right?
Yeah.
Pag kaya mo ulitin, do you have to bet a lot?
No.
Meron naman araw-araw eh.
Oh my gosh, that's mind-blowing. I like that.
Diba?
Yeah.
The problem now is that pag hindi mo maulit, then you're forced to bet more. Kasi takot ka na hindi mo maulit.
True.
Right?
I agree.
So, diba? So, when you're talking about trading, you want to be able to make a trading system na kaya mo ulit-ulitin. Kasi it's a longevity game naman eh.
Yeah.
Diba?
Yeah.
So now, pag kaya mo ulit-ulitin, you don't have to bet a lot anymore. You just have to bet the right amount.
And
the right amount meaning that if you're wrong, you know how much you're losing every single trade that you make a mistake. Diba?
Yeah.
And then the gains, so that means that the losses are standardized. The gains, you can let it run.
Correct. That's heavy and really cool.
So I mean, people na the thing na gigil, when you say gigil or when you say kasi for me kasi the biggest problem with and why bakit nagigigil ka is because you don't have a plan in the first place. So that means that everything that you're doing is reactive.
Correct.
So pag reactive yung tao, you're just gonna be sucked into the volatility of the market. You see a stock go through the ticker, uy, pwede na to ah. So what you'll do is you won't even count size, you won't even count how much you're risking. All of those things are out the window na eh.
Yeah, nagmamadali na
walang setup, lahat, nagmamadali lahat. I mean, we can talk about technical analysis all we want, but if you're reactive, it means you didn't see it before it happened.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you're right.
That means that you can't. There's no risk management involved because you probably won't have enough time to count your size. It means that when the market has volatility, you don't know how much you're losing. Right? So that means that you're just sucked into the volatility of the market there. Right? Because of fear of missing out. Mostly it's fear of missing out there.
Yeah.
Pero here's the funny thing eh. If you can replicate a trading system, you know that you can kaya mo ulitin isang bagay paulit-ulit. Is there any fear of missing out?
No.
No, because you'll get the next one anyway. So if you miss this one, you'll get the next one.
That is amazing. I like it. But do you believe in something called, I've heard this a lot of times, that they used a working plan. May nakita silang stock and then they made a plan on the spot. And do you think this is a good idea or no? Or do you think there is really such thing
like on the
as
spot? You have to remember that we can make excuses for anything. That's the saddest part about like, why don't I go to the gym every day? I can make all the excuses I want why I don't have time to go to the gym. Diba?
Yeah.
Even if I should be in the gym. So even in trading, it's the same, diba?
Yes.
We can make excuses all we want why we weren't mentally prepared to buy this stock. So we just say it becomes a working plan or whatever it is. Diba? But being mentally prepared means that you have to put time before the market is open to know what you're going to be executing going into the day. If you're going to make a decision, a snapshot decision at that moment in time, it means that your trading system should be based around that premise. I know a lot of individuals that trade all intraday. Okay, no problem. But their plan is intraday. That means that going in before the day before the market, as the market is running, that's their objective and that's their goal. Diba? So okay lang sa akin. Pero para sa kanila, yun yung kaya nilang ulitin. Then there's no problem.
Okay.
And then that's one part. The second part is you have to know how much you're willing to lose every time you're wrong on a specific trade.
Yeah, of course.
So example, on average, you should, like for me, each of my formations that I trade, I know how much on average I lose.
Yeah, okay.
So alam ko na pag natatalo na ako sa specific trade and I'm losing more than this number, I have a problem.
What do you do then?
Diba? It means that I have to go back and review how come I allowed myself to lose more than my average. So para hindi ko ulitin. Don't get me wrong, nagkakamali ako parati.
Stop trading during those times, as in stop completely?
Yeah, of course.
Wow.
Of course. Kasi tao lang tayo eh. Right? Sometimes we're not in sync with the market. When you're trading, you need to be in sync with the market. You don't need to be smarter than the market. Everyone thinks you need to be smarter than the market. You don't need to be smarter than the market. You need to be in sync with the market. So whatever the market is giving you, that's what you're taking. You obviously don't want to be reactive to the market, right?
Yeah. What does in sync with the market look like to you?
So example, if the market is risk on, obviously lahat magaling. So you have to pick the specific formations. I mean, just being honest here, diba? But you have to pick the specific formations that are working during that market environment.
Yeah.
So example, today, the market environment today is all, to be honest with you, lahat duration, lahat yun. If you look at all the ones that went up this round, lahat magnitude and duration, lahat duration formations, lahat. So these are all heavily, so if all you trade is momentum today, you're not making any money.
Agree.
Diba? So you have to be in sync with what the market is giving you. There are periods where all that's going up is just the penny stocks.
Yeah.
Or if it's penny stocks that are you have to be in sync that the pennies that's your chance to make money.
Okay. So that means parang basically whatever the market is giving, dun ka. Hindi yung pinipilit mo yung gusto.
That's what you have to be. Correct. You can't force it. It's not like you can force the momentum issues to go up.
Yeah.
I mean, as a part of COL, we would love you guys to make a lot of money in the market and all the momentum issues. That's what we enjoy. Diba? Pero realistically, diba? You guys will struggle during this market environment when there is no excess risk that the market's not carrying any excess risk.
Yeah, we call it dead market.
Kasi kailangan, you have to remember, what is the reason why the market will move to the penny stocks? There's a reason why. Kasi there has to be a level na kumita yung mga tao na gusto nila mag-carry ng excess risk. Pag hindi kumikita ang mga tao, hindi sila maglalagay sa third liner. Right? Pag talo lahat ng tao, even less reason to go to the third liners kasi wala silang baon eh.
Yeah. Wala na silang house money.
Diba? So today, people are just exactly. The only time you go to the that's why in the peak of markets, parati yung mga third liner ang lumilipad. Kasi everyone's ang daming baon ng lahat ng tao eh.
How about common mistakes in risk management? I mean, I know you train a lot of traders. You said you have 40 in your team. What's their common mistakes and how do you help them overcome it?
There are 4 kinds of trades in the market. It's the big win, small win, small loss, and big loss.
Okay.
The most common mistake that we will always have is that there are traders that are willing to eat the big loss. So not eat, it's put themselves in a position to take a big loss.
Yeah.
So the thing there is that if you look at trading, normally the small wins and the small losses will offset one another. So what you're really doing is you're just trying to see whether or not you can make a big win somewhere. And that's what you're taking home at the end of the year. Diba?
Yeah.
But if you're willing to take a big loss somewhere, there's no way that kasi babawiin mo pa yan eh.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
So and then here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. Some people say na okay lang testing lang ako, or I'm just trying something out, or I'm experimenting, whatever excuse you want to make, right?
Yeah.
But you have to remember, it's the emotional implications that take its toll on the trader more than anything else. So if you take a big loss, mentally you're not in the game anymore.
That's true.
that means that you have to cope with the losses. You have to rebuild your confidence. You sometimes you'll even question whether or not this is I'm doing the right thing. So having to work and fight through all of the psychological, emotional side of the trading is even more dangerous than just taking a big loss. My recommendation to those listeners, you got to make sure you're not in a position to ever take a big loss. And it can be done.
Okay.
So the key thing here is that you have to manage your size. It means that when you go in and you make a trade, you have to know how much you're willing to risk on that trade. First of all, you have to know where your stop loss is, right? The second, you have to now calculate, if I get to that stop loss, how much am I losing? Because if I know how much I'm losing, if it gets to that stop loss, I will always enter that order because I already know how much I'm losing. Diba? So that's very important, diba?
Yeah.
Handa ka na in the event that you make a mistake. And it's inevitable you'll make a mistake somewhere, diba? Hindi naman tayo perfect na hindi tayo magkakamali.